The plan was bold yet simple: eliminate Adolf Hitler and alter the fate of World War II. Attempts to end Hitler's life had been made long before the war started. Despite near successes, he always emerged unscathed, as if he had his own guardian devil. The efforts to assassinate him stemmed from two primary sources: lone individuals driven by moral conviction, and from a shadowy conspiracy of aristocratic army officers, who feared that Hitler's reckless leadership would lead Germany to destruction, taking them down in the process. Following the success of Operation Anthropoid, when British-trained Czechoslovak agents assassinated Reinhard Heydrich in Prague in 1942, the British began thinking bigger. Why not simply eliminate the German leader? Take out the heart of the beast, neutralize the core or most vital part of the issue. But then again, Hitler was the most guarded world leader at the time. The British had to find a weak spot in the Führer's protection. Intensive study began of Hitler's movements, properties, and guard arrangements. Unlike the German officers' conspiracy against Hitler, the British had no inside access to the man. Special Operations Executive, or S.O.E, in London studied Hitler intensively, collating masses of information. After the D-Day landings in June 1944, several SS soldiers who had rotated back to frontline units from Hitler's personal staff were captured by the British. One of them, surnamed Dieser, provided details about Hitler's routine at the Berghof, his private house on the Obersalzberg near Berchtesgaden, and the arrangements for guarding him. However, assassinating Hitler at his private home proved extremely difficult to plan. The S.O.E officer compiling the feasibility study faced significant challenges. The Obersalzberg complex was essentially a private village containing Hitler's home, hotels, guest houses, and other residences. The area was carefully guarded by the SS. Martin Bormann, Hitler's secretary and head of the Nazi Party Chancellery, had transformed the Obersalzberg into a private Nazi stronghold, creating a special 7-square-kilometre reserve enclosed by mesh fences and studded with gates monitored by armed sentries. Some senior Nazi leaders lived here, like Hermann Göring, and occasionally Albert Speer resided there. Despite the robust security, there was one time Hitler was vulnerable, during his afternoon constitutional, a walk he took daily with a small group of intimates to the Muslanerkopf tea house. The path, less than a kilometre long, was wooded and included a scenic overlook. Hitler often sat at a bench along the path, discussing matters of state. Crucially, Hitler disliked being closely guarded during his walk. SS guards were ordered to stay out of sight and at a distance, creating a window of opportunity for assassination. In June 1944, an anonymous informer tipped the S.O.E office in Algiers, North Africa. There would be an opportunity to kill Hitler as he was to visit a chateau in Perpignan, southern France.
At the request of General Catroux, I saw yesterday a French colonel who told me that Hitler was living in disguise at Perpignan. The object of the visit was stated to be the inspection of the military position and possibly the preparation of escape into Spain. Informant wanted us to bomb the house before Hitler's departure, which was fixed for Saturday next.
Although the S.O.E did not take any action upon the suggestion, the message inspired Major General Colin Gubbins, head of the S.O.E, to devise a more surreptitious plan. Ultimately, a sniper attack was considered to be the method most likely to succeed. The prisoner captured in Normandy revealed that at the Berghof, Hitler always took a 20-minute morning walk at around the same time, after 10 a.m. Hitler liked to be left alone during this walk, leaving him unprotected near some woods, where he was out of sight of sentry posts. Hitler often fell asleep at the Muslanerkopf and was always driven back to the Berghof, while the rest of his intimates walked back on foot in the late afternoon.
when I go to Obersalzberg, I'm not drawn there merely by the beauty of the landscape. I feel myself far from petty things. My imagination is stimulated. When I study a problem elsewhere, I see it less clearly. I'm submerged by the details. By night at the Berghof, I often remain for hours with my eyes open, contemplating from my bed, mountains lit up by the moon. It's at such moments that brightness enters my mind.
The sign that Hitler was present in the Obersalzberg was the big swastika flag, which was flown on such occasions from the flagpole at the car park in front of the Berghof. The SS Wachkompanie Obersalzberg was the name of the infantry battalion that was permanently stationed in the area. When Hitler was in residence, security was tighter by the presence of the army's Führer-Begleit Brigade Battalion, the Führer Escort Battalion, the FBB, as well as Hitler's 19 personal SS bodyguards from the Reichssicherheitsdienst, the RSD. The Obersalzberg area was divided into 3 districts. District 1 encompassed the area and buildings immediately adjacent to the Berghof. District 2 was all territory including the Berghof, but excluding the Kehlstein area, Kehlsteinhaus Mountain, housing the famous Eagle's Nest tea house. District 3 covered the Kehlstein area only. Supply maintenance and guard shift traffic was seen within this outer zone. Different coloured passes were required to enter each district or security zone, and all cars would be stopped regardless of the rank or uniform of the passengers. The scheme called for the S.O.E. to parachute a German-speaking Pole and a British sniper into Austria. An inside man was recruited, the uncle of a prisoner of war named Dieser, who was a shopkeeper living in nearby Salzburg, identified as Heidenthaler, who was anti-Nazi. Heidenthaler would shelter the agents and transport them to Berchtesgaden disguised as German mountain troops. A sniper was recruited and briefed, and the plan was submitted. The sniper practiced by firing at moving dummy targets with an accurized Karabiner 98K with a Mauser telescopic sight, the standard rifle of the Wehrmacht, under conditions that simulated the planned attack. Additionally, a 9mm Parabellum Luger pistol fitted with a British-made silencer was provided so that the sniper could quietly deal with any threats while approaching the target. The sniper team would position themselves in the woods near the path. The Pole would act as a spotter, while the sniper would use the Karabiner 98K rifle fitted with the telescopic sight. The document also states that the assassins should be in position not earlier than 10 a.m. to give the dog patrol enough time to complete its routine sweep, reducing the risk of the snipers being detected. The gear they would be carrying would be explosive bullets, wire cutters for making a hole in wire fence, HE grenades carried in haversack for close protection and assistance in making getaway, and also a Gebirgsjäger uniform. The great majority of the patients at the lazaret or military hospital in the Platterhof are mountain troops, or Gebirgsjäger. Assuming that the sniper failed and Hitler reached the tea house unharmed, it might be possible to retrieve the situation and even to regard the sniper's attempt as a diversion by attacking Hitler in his car on the return journey to the Berghof. This attack would be made from 2 operatives firing a PIA gun or bazooka from the woods in the vicinity of the tea house. They would avoid the risk of detection by patrols in the neighborhood, whose attention would rather be drawn in the opposite direction. The guards would hardly expect a second attack to be made. Another plan was to put some tasteless but lethal poison in the drinking water supply on Hitler's train. Hitler's train was sometimes serviced at the Salzburg station, and in July 1944, it was seen parked next to von Ribbentrop's train. Only the sides of the special train's coaches were washed, while the tops were left dirty. 6 French women wearing black knee-length overalls did the cleaning. They had no badges or identifying marks. One possible way to tamper with the drinking and cooking water was through the water tank above the kitchen in the Mittroper dining car. The usual water supply wagons weren't used for drinking water, so this tank was the only point where something could be added. It's unclear whether one of the cleaners could access the tank during the final wash before the train departed. However, since they were approachable, bribing one of them might have been possible. Alternatively, an operative could try adding something to the tank at night. If the train was only guarded by 2 railway police officers, another operative could distract them. This would be easier because Salzburg station had very poor lighting. The substance could be added in liquid form, so it would mix evenly as the train started moving. However, this plan was considered too complicated because of the need for an inside man. The document describes the effects and methods of the poisoning. It describes the poison as tasteless and odourless. Neither hard nor soft water is visibly affected by the addition of one lethal dose. Then there is fruit, vegetables, wine and beer, which would not show the poison also, but Hitler did not consume any alcohol. Hitler, according to reliable information, is a tea addict. He always drinks it with milk. Since the milk is poured first into the cup, it is unlikely that the tea's opalescence would be noticed, as it came from the teapot. Tea with milk treated as above shows no detectable change, but without milk it immediately becomes opalescent, and in the course of an hour or so becomes quite turbid and deposits a brown sediment. In November 1944, Major Court presented Operation Foxley. However, it was turned down after heated debate. Many senior officers felt Hitler alive was doing more harm to Germany than Hitler dead. There were also concerns about making Hitler a martyr.
The chiefs of staff were unanimous that from the strictly military point of view, it was almost an advantage that Hitler should remain in control of German strategy. Having regard to the blunders that he has made, but that on the wider point of view, the sooner he was got out of the way, the better.
By the time the plan was finalised, it was too late anyway. Hitler left the Berghof for the last time on July 14, 1944, and never returned.